Hey everyone, today we're jumping into something that's totally changing how we use the internet, voice search. Seriously, it's a huge deal, and we're going to break down exactly how you can make sure you're part of the conversation. So let me kick things off with a big question for you. Is your website speaking a dead language? I know, it sounds dramatic, right? But here's the thing. If you're still just focused on old school typed out keywords, you might be completely invisible to this massive, growing conversation that's happening literally all around us, through our phones, our smart speakers, you name it. So how do you get fluent in this new language of search? Don't worry, we're going to guide you through it. First, we'll look at the search revolution that's already underway. Then, we'll get clear on what voice optimization actually is. After that, I'll give you a practical playbook to get started. And finally, we'll take a peek into the voice-first future. All right, let's dive into our first section, the search revolution. And I really want to emphasize that what we're seeing isn't just some small tweak. Nope, this is a fundamental rewrite of how we behave online, all driven by assistants like Alexa, Siri, and Google Assistant just becoming a normal part of our lives. And look, this is not some niche tech nerds. Get this. 27% of the entire global online population is already using voice search on their phones. That's more than a quarter of the world, folks. And that number, it's only going up. So why is this happening? Why the big shift? Well, it really just comes down to human nature. It's just easier. Speaking is way faster than typing. It's super convenient. You can interact hands-free when you're busy doing other things, like driving or cooking dinner. And a huge piece of this puzzle, maybe the biggest, is local search. People are constantly asking things like, find a pizza place near me, or where's the closest coffee shop? Okay, so we see this huge shift in how people are searching. The next logical question is, what do we do about it? How do we adapt? Well, the answer is something called voice optimization. This is the key to actually being heard in this new audio-first world. So what is voice search optimization, or VSO? Put simply, it's the whole process of fine-tuning your website and your content so that you show up as the top answer when someone asks a question out loud. Think of it like a new flavor of SEO, but it's designed specifically for how people talk, not how they type. And this slide really shows you the heart of the difference. On the one hand, you have traditional text search. It's all about short, choppy keywords, right? Like coffee shop, Boston. But voice search, it's completely conversational. It's a full, natural-sounding question, like, hey Google, what's the best coffee shop near me that's open right now? It's literally the difference between talking at a machine and having a conversation with one. And just to put a number on that, how much longer are we talking? Well, the average voice search query is about 29 words long. 29. Just think about that, compared to the 2 or 3 words we usually type into a search bar. This completely changes the entire game for how we need to create content. It means we need a whole new playbook. Which brings us perfectly to the most practical, hands-on part of this explainer, your VSO playbook. Okay, this is where we get into the good stuff. I'm going to walk you through 6 actionable steps you can literally start using today to optimize for voice search. So our playbook is built on 6 key strategies. We're going to start with how to think more conversationally. Then we'll talk about why you have to answer questions directly. Next up, we'll dive deep into mastering local search. After that, we'll cover the absolute must-haves, mobile friendliness and speed. Then we'll get a little technical with structuring your data. And finally, we'll talk about why you always have to be ready to adapt. So let's break these down one by one. First up, strategy 1, think conversational. This really means you need to start focusing on those longer phrases, what we call long-tail keywords, that sound like actual questions people would ask out loud. Your content should be built from the ground up to answer the who, what, where, when, why, and how questions that your audience is asking their devices every single day. Okay, number 2, answer directly. Voice assistants like Siri and Alexa, they love to find and pull really clear, really concise answers for their results. The golden rule here is to write your content so simply that a 14-year-old could easily get it. Seriously, that means no jargon, no corporate fluff, just get straight to the point. Third, and this is a big one, you have to master local. We already touched on this, but voice search is huge for local questions. This means you've got to optimize your site with local terms like in Chicago or near downtown Austin. And critically, make sure your Google My Business listing is perfect. We're talking correct address, updated hours, and plenty of good reviews. It's a goldmine. Strategy number 4 is to prioritize mobile and speed. And let me be clear, this is absolutely non-negotiable. Almost all voice searches are happening on a smartphone, which means your website has to be mobile-friendly and it has to load lightning fast. Search engines love fast sites, and you know what? So do impatient people asking questions on the go. Okay, fifth on our list, structure your data. Now this one gets a little bit technical, but trust me, it's so important. Using something called schema markup is kind of like adding little labels to your website's code. So for example, if you have a recipe on your site, you can label the ingredients, the cooking time, the temperature. This helps search engines understand your content perfectly, which dramatically increases your chances of being chosen as the go-to answer for a voice search. And finally, our sixth strategy, you have to adapt. Google's algorithms are always getting smarter, always evolving to better understand natural human language. You've probably heard of updates like Hummingbird, RankBrain, and BERT. These were all huge steps in helping Google understand the nuance and context of how we talk. The big takeaway here is just to stay on your toes, because the tech is always improving. So, with that playbook in your back pocket, let's look ahead to our final section, the voice-first future. Because it's not all just opportunities. There are some pretty big challenges to think about, too. Yeah, one of the biggest hurdles is user trust. A recent study found that about 41% of people using voice search have real concerns about their privacy, about data protection, that nagging feeling that their devices are always listening. For this tech to really hit its full potential, companies are going to have to tackle these concerns head on. But please, make no mistake, this is not just some passing fad. This quote from our source material really says it all. Voice search is a paradigm shift. And what that means is that ignoring it, well, it means risking becoming totally irrelevant as your customers fundamentally change how they find information online. So let's bring it all home and talk about why this matters so much. What's the payoff for getting VSO right? Well, it's huge. We're talking massively increased visibility online, much deeper engagement with your local customers, a way better customer experience overall, and honestly, a significant competitive advantage over everyone who's still stuck in the past. Which really leaves us with one final crucial question to think about as we all move into this new voice-first world. When your customers are asking for answers, will your brand be the one that's heard? Thanks for joining me.